Oh, hello and welcome everyone. This is Black at the RTS League channel, and we are here with the first live stream of season 25 of our Age of Mythology the Titans Clan League. And first match is going to be between Frost and AoL. So as you can see, we have quite a decent lineup of players. For AoL, we have Berserker as their best player, Iron Maiden, and Snakehead. So let's have a look at his position first. So we are playing on Ghost Lake, as you could have seen, and you can see that the boars are right in there in the line of sight, which is a very nice start for Snakehead as the Zeus. And looking otherwise, decent berries. 5 berries is always nice, and well, his forward TC is kinda nicely positioned so far it seems. I just don't know what is in this fog for, but it's good okay. And well behind him, he's scouting with his sheep, or rather goat, to have a good line of sight. And well, the back TC is, yeah, normal standard position for a team game. Moving on to the second player, the Pocket for AoL, which is Iron Maiden. He's already cast his Thor's Gold Mine. And also the double bore right inside his base, so he doesn't really have to wander all that far behind his base. And well, isn't this sweet? This nice pot of berries together with this nice hunt. So that's going to be the next stop for this ox cart, I would guess, as this is really bountiful. And since it's forward and close to the ice, he basically needs to gather it as fast as possible to protect against raids that are bound to incoming be. Aurochs at the back, that's pretty sweet, scouting with the Ulfsark as you can see. And well, let's have a look at the last one from AoL, Berserker, their top player, also gathering from the boars. Right now just Oxguard going for the wood line, and well, Aurochs in the forefront, that's going to be a very nice spot for food, 5 berries. And yeah, right now he's moving from his secure boar actually to the forefront, which is a good idea because he wants to spare this in case he was under some kind of attack and needed some safe hunt, so he needs to gather this fast. And well, looking how actually the ox cart is lower on health, it means that he actually used it micro it for the damage from the boar. Well, nice play. In the forefront down, then you can see some nice gold, which is reasonably safe considering where his 30C is, although he's probably not too happy about this tree line. So yeah, that's not a good spawn, and that means he will have to be a bit more aggressive because he can't really let this TC get away from him, and yeah, it's going to be a bit harder to defend, but I don't think it's going to be anything insurmountable. Moving on to the other team, the Frost Swoop D. That's the famous streamer that streams quite often on Woobley. Well, nice hunt in the forefront, but it's not. It's probably spawned out as his, but it's not his altogether because you can see that it's basically just in the middle between him and Berserker, which is not a sweet spot together. And well, he will have to do with this other hunt spot, which is very nicely positioned and much better for him right now. In his base, well, he's already also gathering from the berries, and template is being dropped. So we are at 3 minutes, which is a reasonable time. So that means like something like for an 45 advance. Sometimes you see Oranos is actually advanced faster, but he decides that this is the correct one to go for. A pocket for Frost is Swiss Boy, is a new player. We haven't seen that much of any RTS league whatsoever, which goes for basically all of them, of course, because Frost is a newcomer, and he's right now dropping Temple. And for his map, well, behind his base, this is, of course, a hunt between him and his teammate, together with this berries. Well, that's pretty sweet. That's something similar what actually AoL have on the left side. You can see the hunt here is very even and very nicely positioned for all teams. Otherwise, something interesting, well, he's not really gathering at the forefront, so he's just gathering at the back. He will soon have to move somewhere else, for example here. And in the forefront, he just has some Aurochs that are partly hidden, but that's about it. Last to have a look at is Geffer the Cat, and he's already advancing through Prometheus, because we are at 4 minutes game time. And well, right now he's gathering at the front, just a few left, so he's going to be quite finished very soon. And otherwise, Oroks here in the front and another hunt near the gold as well. Map seems kind of nicely positioned, so very nice indeed. And you can see that Swoop is already through, and Iron Maiden as well. On the left, you can also see that Gefford is very nice, very nicely scouting, so he knows where Snakehead is gathering his food, which is a bit problematic for Snakehead, as he will be very easily raided. Plus 8 billion LOS, well, that's a very nice relic. And he's already trying to actually wall himself in, because he's expecting quite a lot of attacks from his opponents. Although Geffer is going to be a bit slower than him, which is, well, very nice bonus. Very nice bonus indeed. Otherwise, we can see that 3 Prometheans are already making some appearance near Berserker, but they are just going to be killed by the troll if he can. Oh well, he can't. They are just too fast for him to actually target properly, which means that they will just be free to scout all along. You can see some Hersirs popping up from Berserker playing the Loki here, which is, well, kind of obvious when playing Loki. And well, right now he's trying to scout around, so is he going to find something interesting? No, not here. He needs to go here and right into this hunting spot that is nicely protected by the manor. You can also see though that Swoop is very nicely prepared and going for an attack on the left, and on the bottom though we have to have a look how AoL Iron Maiden is doing against his opponents. Just now killing one Billy from Geffer the Cat, and that's going to set him back, well, quite a lot. So this is a very strong double from AoL, and both Snakehead, you can see pumping some Centaurs together with Iron Maiden, have a pretty decent army here, with Geffer the Cat just now pumping out some first military units, so that's a bit slower. And well, yes, Swiss Boy then, for some extra help, which means that Iron Maiden has to be careful, and right now he's basically just sacrificing the troll, because he knows he can't really run away, and allows him to maneuver with his horses. At the top, you could see that Berserker hasn't gone anywhere yet with his army, and right now he will be caught by Subdi with quite a decent army right now. So it seems like Berserker will have to hope for some nice spawn, and he's using Spy very wisely on this Turma, because that's a unit that's not probably going to die anytime soon, and will most probably go for some Raiden. And just as we talk about Raiden, we can switch into Iron Maiden's a bit of point of view, and he's looking for some release, and he will probably be quite lucky indeed here. Yeah, he's going right on them. So it was a very nice scout, and he didn't really know that they were right there, but had a pretty good guess, and well, he found them very nicely, so that means that Swiss Boy is going to be a bit short on food. Yeah, he had to run all the way here, and it's really far away, so even though he's not really killing all that many villies here, well, that might change. The Radiant did its job, because it means that Swiss Boy will be without resources for quite some time. At the bottom, you can see that Snakehead has to be careful with his centaurs, as he doesn't have really enough. And at the top, well, Subdi has to retreat, because Berserker is finally with some decent army of Berserkers, and yeah, here we have the spawns, and that's something that the Attis don't really like, mythological units. Even though he has a few units here from Valor, probably, it's not really going to be enough. Especially if Berserker micros well, and since he's a good player, that's going to happen. At the same time though, we can see that in his base there's a Radiant from Swiss Boy, and it seemed to be reasonably successful because they killed at least the troll that was guarding here, and they made some villies from the wood line actually move somewhere else. Right now they are at the protection of the TC, so pretty nice job. In the middle, well, yeah, I was just about to say that Swoop is maybe Raiden, he isn't. But all the raiding is right now happening in Frost's base. That's a pretty decent amount of raiding cavalry being pursued by, well, another small army of Swiss Boy, but at the same time it's just basically Turmas. And with the fast raiding cavalry, Iron Maiden has a lot of time to actually maneuver properly. Subdi is right now trying to take a second TC, which is the first player of the game to do so. He's probably recognizing that the early game is not going as well as they would have hoped. So he's switching the strategy into a bit of a boomy and advancing into heroic with good economy. And well, will it be enough? Most probably not, because you can see that Berserker has right now joined with Iron Maiden, which means that the TC is pretty much dead. And, well, Swoop will be just as lucky if he gets away with those villagers at all. So that's a pretty nice team play by Berserker and Iron Maiden, although Shockwave right now just about to stop the attack here, because you can see that Red and Teal are both with all their armies at the defense here. So that means I will have to retreat, and let's have a look at the middle, where Green is joining his army of few centaurs with Hippicons, which is a pretty decent one. And, well, it's not like Yellow has enough here. Yeah, he doesn't. Just going to die, you can see quite obviously. And we also saw another regiment of raiding cavalry, which means that Iron Maiden has a pretty decent army right now, upgrading into medium raider. And I'm kinda thinking it might be just a pop limit here for him, which is why he's taking second TC if you have a quick look at the minimap. And he feels that he's strong enough to actually take on the TC, which pretty much might be right. Because with the help of Snakehead right now, this could be strong enough. Well, Swiss Boy though didn't have the army all that far behind, so he's just now returning, and with all those Murmilos, that could be enough to actually repel the raiding cavalry here. Also, you can see that Geffa the Cat is right now also trying to take the second TC, and Red is not giving up and is about to finish right now. From the development of this fight, you can see that AoL have decided to actually fall back a bit, and this is the reason. Berserker going for Bragi, he wanted to spare his army and not lose it needlessly. And once he actually joins at the top, all his army together, that's going to be pretty strong. You can see that Swoop DE has quite some decent army at the top, but that's not really going to be enough against flaming weapons, and you know what happens with Loki. A lot of mythical spawns and most probably battle boars. And once that happens, not a good time for Swoop D. Right now Iron Maiden is trying to secure this gold and build some extra military buildings so that he can more readily help his teammate at the top. You can see that it wasn't really a good idea from Red, and he has to retreat. And whereas somewhere else, we see that in green base that's a decent radiant from yellow player right into the wood line, which is very powerful and successful at the same time. Although he better be careful because the TC is there, and well, he will have to find probably some other spot to gather wood, but he has quite a lot of spots there, so yeah, already going here as you can see. Otherwise, this army is not going to do anything, and well, while the yellow army is in green's base, green's army is in yellow's base. And it's a quite a decent one, although I would prefer some medium Hippicons at about this time, and we have the flaming weapons. Alright, so that's a huge battle, because Berserker was caught in the middle of two Frost armies. You can see that Swiss Boy together with Sub DE caught him in some nice pincers. But yeah, this is the mythical spawn of the boars that are exactly what is needed right now. But at the same time for Sub DE, we can see birdies, and that's slight problem, although you can see that Berserker is counting with this and already having some trolls. It should be more than enough to actually take care of these few birdies here. And quite of course, Berserker has a slightly better chance of actually building more of the mythical units than Sub D. Sub D basically, once he loses all of these, he won't be able to pass them all that easily. Yeah, basically needs to kill these 3 birds and he will have a bit of a respite. So right now I'm kinda thinking that Berserker won't be able to finish this TC because this army is pretty strong. And since the flaming weapons are gone, well, that's a quick jump. That's a quick jump, and actually you might think that Dragon is strong, but birdies are actually super powerful against him. You can see that every time they actually flap their wings, they are eating a huge amount of life from the Nidhogg. So this is just a temporary measure for Iron Maiden to arrive at the scene and get some extra damage and kill all the armies. So even though the Dragon paid with his life, he served his purpose, and yes, the battle is won for the AoL guys. And finally some fire giants. That's going to be some extra help against the birdies. So that was a pretty crucial battle, and right now you can see that it's heading into full-on triple. We have all 3 AoLs at the same spot. Let's have a quick look at some of the upgrades. Nothing from Berserker, which is understandable since he was very fast into Mythic. Just mediums and just mediums as well. So nothing much interesting on either side. Just checking red. And let's have a look at the bottom where I saw some yellow blob. And yeah, he's right now recognizing that actually Snake's army is up top. And he is without anything, although he didn't really find the correct spot. Just killing like 2 wheelies. And he needs to be a bit forward. Yes, this is a very open and very vulnerable. So if Snakehead isn't careful, he's returning with this army right now. It should be reasonably time. But still, Geffer could be able to deal some enough damage that it could be worthwhile. At the same time, oh, okay, so let's have a look. I was about to switch into the middle, but since this battle is going to happen, let's see how actually it will go. And yes, those forward, or rather, improved into heroes Turmas are going to be the death of those centaurs, so that's why Snakehead is actually retreating. And well, this seems rather decent for Geffer the Cat. At the same time, you can see that Berserker has stolen the 30C from Swoop DE, so he's right now not worried about the bad placement of his own third. And will be just preparing to go for some nice raiding. Well, this is a pretty decent mythical army that's going to be very hard to deal with for the Etis Swoop DE. In the middle, there's a big battle between Iron Maiden's raiding cavalry and, well, Swiss Boy, although unfortunately for Swiss Boy, he basically has just Turmas and these 3 birds. Right now another bird from Geffer the Cat, which, well, should be reasonable enough because they deal enough damage to make Iron Maiden flee, which he does, and he needs some extra support from possibly Berserker, because he's the one with Fire Giants right now and Trolls. And, well, it's not like Iron Maiden actually can do anything right now. So with a bit of lag here, it seems like. Let's have a look at somewhere else at the map, and we can see that Geffer Cat is going for third TC, which is just as well, but he will be got there. But with his army here, yeah, it shouldn't be really all that problematic. Unless all those guys actually target this one wheelie that is half health, which is not happening right now. They are just full on in there. And it seems like Snakehead wasn't really paying attention, he just sent them there blindly, which resulted in some damage and, yeah, 2 dead centaurs, so that's kinda unfortunate for him. But, well, that's what happens. So he's right now, for example, Snakehead advancing. Oh, where is his 30C? Here it is. No, he isn't yet, but he's preparing some military buildings at the forefront for some full-on battle against the yellow player. And yeah, he will need Odysseus here against those birdies. Otherwise, that's not going to go all that well for him, since he's just down to 1 centaur right now. At the top, you can see that Berserker is very much ready for an attack, and as he has some upgrades, yeah, he's already started with at least copper shields. And with all those fire giants and trolls, those birds are really not a problem anymore. And right now, he can probably go full on. Even though you can see that Swoop DE is prepared in Mythic right now through Hecate, the same as Geffer, and we could just see that he was advancing or upgrading into Heavy. So he has pretty decent army, and those Arcuses are going to be very good army here indeed. Right now this is pretty much a 2 versus 1, 2 Frost against 1 Berserker. Giant just flying, not doing anything right now, and this is a pretty bad battle for Berserker, I would say. He was maybe hoping for some good spawn, which he didn't get. And especially when we see the 2 towers here, yeah. This means that Berserker is right now pretty much without an army, so he will have to wait a bit and respawn. So this battle is done, but let's have a look at the middle and the bottom. Well, that's a pretty decent army of heavy raiders, isn't it? Already with some pretty decent upgrades, and right now they seem to be intent on actually taking down DCs. Well, with those extra boars, that's going to be pretty deadly. As you can see that Geffer the Cat's town centers are still not upgraded, just 2100, resources, resources hit points, which means DC down, and with not enough army here whatsoever, he's just going to continue, I think, into Teal, who is at least upgraded, but still, against all this army, that's not going to be easy to stop. Titan Gate has been just cast by Yellow, so that's a bit of a reason why he's not really having all that much army here, because he spent most of the resources actually on the Titan Gate. And right now, Swiss Boy is returning into his base because he recognizes that this raiding from Iron Maiden is not going to stop anytime soon. Just now advance upgrading into Heavy Raiders with better shielding. And well, this is a pretty decent battle, and right now it seems like Iron Maiden is very intent on killing the TC and sacrificing even all his army. So he lost almost all of the raiders. Well, half of them are pretty much dead, the rest of this army, and well, he at least killed the TC, so he might be able to stop his opponents for at least a bit, but it doesn't seem like any of his teammates actually can make use of it. So he is using the opportunity that Berserker gave him through losing all his army into attack, but yeah, you can see this was actually planned from Berserker. He needed some extra space for more fire giants. Right now having 6 fire giants, and more will be more probably coming. He's also at 4 TCs, which means all the more advantage, and as you can see at the TCs it's 2 for Frosts and 3 and 4 for AoLs. So that's a pretty huge advantage on both fronts. At the bottom the Titan Gate is reasonably safe. It doesn't seem like anybody should be doing anything about it. Yeah, I don't really expect anything like that. Snakehead right now advancing into Heroic. That's going to be some nice underworld passage somewhere. And will they maybe use it for the Titan Gate? Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. That's a nice vortex at the back of Berserker's base with... Well, I kinda would have liked a bit more destroyers at this vortex, but it's going to do something. It's killing some of those Willies. And they are somehow bugged. Well, they decided to sleep and not go anywhere. Well, that's a very nasty one. Huh. Well, now I feel very sorry for Berserker. Not exactly sure what this was, but... Well, that was unfortunate for him. That was unfortunate for him, and of course it's going to be the end of this TC. And well, there is absolutely no army from AoLs at the back, so it's going to be not easy to actually stop this. And right now you can see that Berserker is not really intent on defending it. He's right now using the opportunity to actually go into full attack, because he knows that Swubdi is going to be just one. And without any help from his teammate Swiss Boy, who saved him last time around. And yeah, just the heavy artillery from the 5 giants is going to be enough. Although, all of these towers, that's a pretty good strategy here from Frost to actually stall the attack here. Titan is almost ready, 77%, so he'll be coming out of his dwelling very soon. And, well, how's it looking at the front here for Yellow? Not really well, because you can see that Snakehead is right now building fortress to actually cover the gold and have a nice defensible position. Mediums and at least the basic copper shields. Well, even though there are 2 palaces here, there is just no army. And the army is right now trying to take care of the Iron Maiden's front base that was supposed to be here. But yeah, that's not going to survive. This is actually buying time for Geffer the Cat quite nicely. Or rather, Geffer the Cat, Snakehead, because he now could basically just amass a lot of army to prepare for the attack that's going to come from Yellow. Another TC is of course dead for Berserker, so Berserker is right now down to 2. And yeah, he's finally taking it seriously and trying to deal with the threat here. As he recognizes that the attack is not going to go all that well due to all this extra tower fire. And well, he's now kinda spread thin. You can see that Swubdi is actually going into attack right now, seeing how Teal is binding a bit of army from Berserker in his base, who is right now rebuilding his TC. And Let's have a look at the bottom fight, where the Titan is joining the fun. Gaffer get 3 TCs, and if Gaffer uses his Titan wisely, and that means taking down the buildings and the TCs especially, he might be able to actually somehow overpower Snakehead, although we heard the Ragnarok being called from Iron Maiden, and right now that's going to be a super strong power. He still does have flaming weapons, so that's going to be super powerful, and well, you could pretty much level the Titan here in a matter of seconds, but I'm kinda thinking he won't be interested in that. Because this is just a 20 population limit down for Geffer the Cat, and that means that as long as Geffer the Cat is in the attack on green, who can hold him reasonably well, I think, in a 1v1, all these heroes of Ragnarok can actually just do anything they want in Frost bases. Well, you can see all the upgrades, so that's going to be super strong. Super strong flaming weapons on this Ragnarok, and he's not really giving up on his teammates, so yeah, he's ready. So give me the flaming weapons. Ah, yeah, here they are. So that's going to be a very fast death of this Titan. Here you can see how fast is actually the life draining out of this huge stone monster. And since this is happening quite surely, let's have a look at the other heroes of Ragnarok. They are joining the fight with the green at the bottom, which should really turn the tide, and well, this is very gutsy, and I think Frost will pay for this fully. And otherwise, well, this is just a TC raiding party without any army whatsoever to defend the TCs. Yes, this is going down. This is going down very soon as well. Even though it will be quite a decent amount of damage together with the Arcuses here, it's still going to be pretty problematic for Frost to actually withstand this very strong Ragnarok. At the top, it seems like Berserker is about to actually launch another attack of this with quite a lot of fire giants, 8 fire giants right now. Against all this, well, it could work, although he has to get rid of those hero Arcuses, otherwise, yeah, it's going to be that more difficult than he would like. In Yellow's base, you can see that the tree of the Dryads has been stolen finally, and is it going to result in some extra Dryads for Blue? Right now it doesn't seem so, he's just content with his army just laying waste to anything that they see. Yeah, just leveling another TC of his boy, who is right now down to 2. And well, at the same time though, he's not doing all that bad. All those Arcuses that have some decent upgrades, you can see, yeah, that's pretty good, are just about to actually kill all the raiding party from Blue, and it will just now remain to be seen if Blue is actually rebuilding fast enough to help their teammates finish the job. Right now it doesn't seem so. He's that's because he's house still. But he is ready to actually rebuild his economy, which he is, and it won't be really far behind that he's actually ready to build some extra military. Right now he's using the opportunity of Geffer the Cat basically being dead altogether. Yeah, he's basically annihilated, because Snakehead was doing quite a decent job with him. And right now that he doesn't have any army and population limit, he's just killing him together with a few units of Iron Maiden, who has just now stolen his base DC, increasing his population limit at 4 as well. Right now I would kinda say that Geffer is out of the game altogether. Doesn't really have any economy left, so this will be up to the rest of this Frost if they can somehow do something out of this position, which is precarious to say the least. Yeah, this is a pretty decent army. This Gigant should be dead reasonably soon. Front TC is dead and being stolen by Snakehead, which means that Geffer the Cat, once these fillies are dead, is basically history right there. And yes, this is the GG, and we won't even see the full front attack from our AoL Berserker. So that was a pretty good game, and even though Frosts were in it for quite a long time, in the end AoL had a better strategy, and it worked for them very nicely. So let's have a look at the post game. You can see that Iron Maiden had the highest score. I kinda have to agree. His rating was pretty strong and did the most damage, I would say. And Swoop DE as the best from Frosts. Yes, also have to agree that that is the case. Pretty decent military count. And very nice timing of Berserker for this Mythic. He just went full on Mythic in there. At 10 minutes he decided it's time to go Heroic and Mythic just at the same time. And well, yeah, this is the Ragnarok and the plummet in population, of course. That's what happens usually when you play the Ragnarok. Even though he had all the upgrades and the flaming weapons, the units just do die. So, good job and a 1-0.